program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Welcome to Race in Action Today. We're here again at the Klingberg Family Center's annual auto show, and boy, I'll tell you, it turned out to be a very special occasion as we get into our second show of the event. The first show was kind of dedicated to cars that were manufactured in Connecticut, which is really something special. And as you could see, there is many types of cars there, and the show is just outstanding. I can't emphasize enough to tell you that please keep the date for next year. Check online at the Klingberg Family Center's website when the event will be held next year, because the event really is something special. We're going to get into interviewing more people with these Connecticut cars. As you see, this 1903 Pope Hartford is a perfect example, along with this 1911 Corbin is truly a great car. Yes, we have Jerry Chase with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 1903 Pope Hartford Model B. And I'll tell you, Jerry, this car is absolutely gorgeous. I have never seen one in my life. I have a feeling you know a few things about this car.
Well, we started from the bottom. Yeah, it was a derelict, came out of a barn at Rhode Island, and we started from there. It was discovered in the early 60s, changed a few hands, and then I bought it out of Massachusetts about maybe 10 years ago, and started. That's how I met the person we're honoring today. Well, I knew Louis many years ago, but I got really close to Louis because Louis was a Pope Hartford man. We're honoring him today here, Louis Biondi. He was just a walking dictionary for Pope Hartford automobiles. He could tell me who owned this car, where it came from. He knew everything about every Pope that I ever knew. And there's an interesting story on my other one. Maybe we'll get to that. But, we made the fenders and did the motor and did all the mechanicals on it.
I mean, the parts got to be like, how do you find parts to this car?
You don't. I'm lucky. I own a manufacturing firm, and with Louis' help, I was able to duplicate parts that were unobtainable. There's only, truly only 6 of these left, and a few of them are in museums.
Oh, yeah. My dear. Yeah, we just never see these cars. Yeah. It's such a treat for us today. I'm like a kid in a candy store here. I don't know what to look at next.
Well, they're a lot of fun. When you get involved in it, you get the sense of pride of doing the restoration. As you've talked to many of these other fellows here, it is a lot of self-satisfaction doing this, and when people appreciate it, it's like a stamp of approval,
Absolutely. It's like recreating history. And that's what they are. They're history, looking at you in the face.
I always say that. We don't own these cars. We're just the keeper of them, because they will stay on now and go on for many years to come, So we're just the keepers of them.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you for your interview, and hopefully we're going to talk to you about, I understand you have a few other cars here, and we'll have a
interesting story on a 1909 Pope Hartford. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move to that car next.
Thanks.
Yes, we have Jerry Chase with us again, who has another beautiful Pope Hartford, a 1909, and boy, I'll tell you, I am so impressed, Jerry, with your cars so far, and I just have a feeling you may have a few stories about this car and what it is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have actually two Popes, and I have a lot of other cars, but this car in particular goes way back in our family. It was supposed to have been my father's, and it was. I was there when I was probably 14 years old when my father tried to buy the car from a lady owned a junkyard in Essex. It was a lot of money. I remember him offering her, and my mother probably found out, and that ended right there. thanks to Louis Biondi, after I bought this car, he gave me the history of it. I was lucky enough to call a guy in Florida, and my secretary looked up the names, and the third name I called and asked if he was, as Louis told me, the milkman.
The milkman.
The milkman. That's what they called him. And the milkman, I said, don't hang up on me, but are you the milkman? And he says, yes, I am. Who told you that? And I said, Louis Biondi. And he said, well, how is that old so-and-so, you know? And the long story short, the milkman ended up getting the car that my father was supposed to own. And because of Louis Biondi, I found out that I got the car that my father was trying to buy in 1949.
Really?
Yeah. It's a wonderful car. It belonged to Bill Harrah. I have been out to his place, and it was one of his favorite cars. He drove it often. Bill Harrah was the owner of over 1,200 cars. Just yesterday, I drove this car, if you're ready for this, from Pennsylvania home.
Wow.
Yeah, and alone. Almost all the way home. I had my son meet me, pick me up in the trailer. So they're wonderful, wonderful cars, the Popes are. And I really, truly love this one. This is probably my favorite, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, I could certainly see your attraction to these cars. They are something special, and I have to commend you on how you keep these cars. They are just gorgeous.
Well, it's a lot. It is a lot of work. This one here is what I call a user car. The three that you saw before is they call them trailer queens or show dogs, you know. Although they do run, you know. But this one here is a user car. I use it an awful lot. I probably toured it better than 10,000 miles, you know. But I was most proud yesterday because it came from Hawley, Pennsylvania, wow, flawlessly across, you know. And I mean,
that says something. Alone, that says something about the car. And
yeah,
the confidence you have to have in it.
Yeah, well, a few times there I got a little nervous about that. But no, it was a great trip, great roads, and I was on what's called a Pure Pope tour. And they probably traveled maybe 1,500 miles on the whole tour. I left that because I wanted to come and do the Klingberg thing.
Yeah, this is special, I'll tell you. Honoring Lou and these cars. We just never see them. I'm telling you, it's a treat for us to really see these cars.
Yeah, this is a great, great automobile. And like I say, it was one of Bill Harrah's favorites. It's a very, very correct car. And I say that with pride because it is and was very correct.
Well, we certainly want to commend you. You know, covering these cars that were built in Connecticut is really something special for us, as it is, I'm sure. That's the attraction with a lot of people who own them. And I'll tell you, I hope we see you more often.
Well, yeah. Little point of information. A lot of people don't know that Connecticut was almost the Detroit. It came so very, very close. Alfred Pope had the Pope Company. He made many of these cars, Toledo, Tribune, Columbia bicycles. But when he bought the Selden patent, which was the Selden made in Hartford, a lot of people don't realize that everybody paid a patent right to Pope when he bought except yours truly. Henry Ford. By the time the lawsuit came to a head, Pope had no chance of winning, and that's why 1914 is their last year. Henry never paid patent rights, and the Pope died, you know, wow, and the automobile went to Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting story. I've never heard that side of the story, and that is really a good piece of history.
That's what makes Popes so rare, though. I mean, they really are, and they're a wonderful, wonderful touring car.
Well, pleasure meeting you, and I got a feeling we're going to see more of you, too, in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. You were great.
Thank you.
I tell you, you really know the history.
Thank you.
Yes, we have John Lothrop with us and Russ Whitney with this beautiful 1911 Corbin. And I'm going to tell you something, John. These Corbin cars have really got my attention. I was born in New Britain here, but I have never seen these cars. We never see them. And I got a feeling you know a little bit about this car.
Yes, I've had it since 1963. I've driven it thousands of miles, and I know about all there is to know about it.
Now, are there parts easy to come by?
Yeah, A lot of pieces I had to make, and a lot of pieces I used secondhand and altered them and made them fit.
Now, where are you from?
Right now I live in New Hampshire, southern New Hampshire, and I had to pause in my details for a while and build myself a house. Then I went back to work on the cars.
Now, do you bring this car to many events?
As many as who?
Do you bring this car to many events?
Yeah, but I also do a lot of touring where we get in the car and we go someplace.
Well, that's always fun to drive the car. And I am totally amazed, talking to some of the competitors here today, that they drive these cars all over the place, a lot of the people.
Yep, I have driven through 3 sets of high tension tires and 2 sets of brake shoes on this car since I've had it.
Wow, isn't that special? What kind of motor is in this car?
Well, it's only a 4-cylinder, but it's got lots of power, and it's always prepared to go. The first time I took it out, the police department waved at me. They didn't say slow down, they said go faster.
Well, they're certainly special. The history of Corbin here in New Britain is something special. Well, like I said, we just never see these cars, and we're so glad you're here.
Well, of course, my neighbors see them quite often.
Yeah, they do. And you got another interesting car, too, that Columbia over there. I mean, I didn't even know that existed, which is actually part of Pope Hartford.
Yeah, it was made in Hartford, Connecticut in what the heck year was that?
1907.
1907, that's right. And I have made a whole new engine for it. I hope to have it done before cold weather sets in, and then we'll have it out running too.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to certainly look forward to seeing you again out with these cars, and I really have to commend you on how you keep them, and the fact that you drive them around too is something special,
That's what they were made for.
Absolutely, I agree with you. These brass-era cars have really got my attention, I'll tell you. Originally, when I started fooling around with antique cars, the muscle cars caught my attraction because that's what, when I was a kid, that's what was going on. But as time went on, and we started doing vintage car events, vintage racing events, these older cars really got my attention. These cars were the pioneers of automobile racing today.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And I had a conversation with a gentleman, Donnie Carlson, who had this racer, talk about being rare. I mean, that's a one-off that raced in the Vanderbilt Cup. I mean, where do you ever see a car like that,
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm really glad you brought the car here, and I want to commend you for what you do, and we hope to see you in the future.
We only had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get here, but we enjoy it too.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's about having fun.
Who?
Having
about
fun,
having
John.
fun.
Just having fun.
Yeah, the whole thing is having fun. Right now, I've been retired for 25 years or so, and I have lots of time to work on them.
I could tell by the smile on your face you loved every minute of it.
I did, and I still do.
All right, we want to thank you for your interview, and good luck at the event. Thanks a lot, Russ. Good luck today.
He's a neighbor as well as a good friend.
He's having fun, too. I could tell. Yes, we have Don Carlson with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 34 Packard Coupe. And I got a feeling, Don, you know a few things about this car.
Well, I went to look at this car in Massachusetts, and it was in a fire. And I took a friend of mine from Winstead up to the place to look at it. And when we did, he said, "Geez, Don," he says, "you got a lot of Packards. Why don't you let me buy this one?" I said, "Okay." And I had a lot of parts for it. So I gave him a lot of parts, and he told me when I finish it, I'll sell it back to you, which he did. He's dead now, unfortunately. He was a great guy. But he told me, he said, "I had to sell it back to you because you gave me most of the parts to fit it, to finish it off." And what happened was he found another top. The top burnt and warped a little bit, and he found another top out west that was like brand new and put it all together, and it really is a great car.
I'll tell you, it's certainly a stunning looking car. And now, which motor does this car have?
This is an 8-cylinder, a standard 8. The model is 1101, which is a standard 8 for 34.
Now, did they make many of these models?
Yeah, in fact, there's an original one over here, right at the meet. Came from Rhode Island.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, it's still got original paint on it, but I mean, it's shabby looking, but it's a great car.
Well, Packards were just absolutely great cars. We all know that.
Packard, 34 Packard was the ultimate year. After that, they went cheaper. They started getting cheaper, and they made 6 cylinders and the cheaper cars to keep up with the world.
I'll tell you, I was at an event 2 weeks ago down in Greenwich, and there was a gentleman there had Lindbergh's wife's father's car.
Is that right?
It was built in France. It was like a Phaeton, you know, Packard 33, I believe.
33 Packard, I see.
The car was absolutely stunning. I mean, it was beautiful.
It had a great history.
Oh, the history. Could you imagine?
Yep.
You know, being Lindbergh's wife and you know, the tie-in. He said he had a picture of it outside the courthouse of that car parked there while the trial was going on.
Oh, my God. Holy, geez, that's great. I didn't go to that meet, but I know it's a great meet.
Yeah, we get there. We've been there a few times, but I'll tell you, this meet is something special.
This is one of the greatest meets that ever came to New Britain. I mean, there's nothing like this. Even at Hershey, there's some more beautiful cars here than you even see at Hershey, because some people got too far to get there, and they can't drive them all the way.
Yeah, I am just at awe. I'm like a little kid in a candy store here. I don't know what to look at next.
Mark Johnson did a beautiful job for this place. I mean, everything he did worked out great. He got a good time, no more rain, and this is a good time to do it. He knew about that. So he changed it. He changed this meet from October to June, which makes the hot sun makes the ground good and hard. Before it used to be mushy no matter what, because the sun wasn't hot enough in October. So he did a great job on this.
Well, I hope to come back in the future, and most of all, I want to get to see you a little bit. We never see you no more.
You got to make a speedster.
That's right. We got to get racing, you know.
Okay. All right.
Thanks a lot, Don, and good luck, buddy.
You're welcome. Okay.
You're a great
Don.
Honey, we're going to go pull that.
Yes, we have Jeff Adams, who has this absolutely gorgeous Model T, which I'm very prone to, I'll tell you. And it comes in my favorite color, black, too. And I think you probably know a few things about this car, Jeff.
I do. This 1923 Model T runabout was purchased by my great-grandfather, Delbert Adams, in 1923 in June. It was purchased in Salem, New York, and it remained on the farm until 1996 when it came to Connecticut.
Wow, how special is that?
It is. My grandparents drove it for about 8 years, and then it sat in a barn for about 40 years. And then my grandfather took it out in 1970 and did its first restoration and did a few parades. And then after that, it kind of sat in the barn again. And 1996, when he passed away, my father got it. And then in 2005, we started a restoration.
I'll tell you, the car is gorgeous. I mean, you know, Model Ts came in a lot of different versions too, right? Is this the most basic?
This is one of the most popular, from my understanding. The 23, the actual body of this is used a lot for the hot rods and things like that. So it's very popular. And this was the highest production year out of the 19 years or so that they made them.
Now tell me, do you drive it much?
Almost every week, probably 2 or 3 times a week, running around town.
I'm going to have to get me one of these cars. I'll tell you, they just have my attraction lately. I don't know what it is. You know, we got to get up to Lime Rock vintage racing, and I just have that thinking about getting a speedster together, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. you wouldn't think there would be a lot left, but some people say there could be 200,000 or 300,000 of them out there in one form or another. So
No kidding. Well, we're going to have to get in gear and start doing something. Now, where are you from, Jeff?
I'm from Plainville.
Plainville, Connecticut. Oh, good, good. Yeah, that's our home station, Nutmeg. There is right in your neighborhood, I bet.
Yep. I watch it frequently.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk to somebody about old cars, and I'm always fascinated to talk to people who see the show, you know, because we try to do a lot of different types of events. But I'll tell you, this show, this Klingberg show is fantastic.
Fantastic, and this weather, we couldn't ask for a better day today.
Well, we're going to wish you luck today, and hopefully you see it on the road at some of these other events.
You got it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and you really need to be commended. The car is gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. You were great. Yes, we have William Brock with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 1929 Model A, and it's in my favorite color, too, black. Now, tell me something. I understand you work on these cars.
I do. I've been restoring cars full time for about 20 years, and I've been working on Model A Fords since I was 13.
Now, tell me, what is the history of this particular car?
I bought this car in 1975 out of a barn in Torrington, and I've been driving it all these years. And two of my sons came home from the hospital in this car.
Is that right?
From the New Britain Hospital.
Wow, boy, that's now where do you live, and where's your shop?
I live in Lebanon. You know where that is?
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people don't know where Lebanon.
That's in country. Yeah, that's out in the country.
Yes, it is. Cows and chickens.
Yeah. And your shop out there too?
Yes, my shop's right there on the Goshen Hill side of Lebanon.
Now, do you specialize in Model A's or Model T's or both? Or
well, I specialize in pre-war cars mostly, but my greatest experience is in early Fords.
Yeah. I got to ask you a question. I've been trying to hunt down a speedster or something I can make into a speedster. You may have maybe a good connection for that.
Oh, I probably do. In fact, I have the parts to build one myself.
You do, yeah? Yeah, we cover a lot of vintage car events, vintage racing, and like at Lime Rock, and I got a vision of putting together a Model T Speedster just to go out and have some fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun because they're light, and so they're kind of peppy.
Yeah, they have a real interesting look to them. You know, the speedsters and the race cars of that era. I mean, there really wasn't much to them.
Well, they're bare bones, stripped down for speed, and so they're fun to drive.
Now, tell me, the Model A here, is this a particular year you like, or?
I've always been attracted to the early models. The Model A was built for 4 years, and the 28, 29s are more antique looking, just from the design. In 30, they modernized the shape of the body, and it looks sleeker and more modern. And I've always been attracted to the older look.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I have several of these, and most of them are 29s.
Oh, see, I always ask people about the car they have because 9 times out of 10, they were particularly looking for that kind of a car in that year and everything else.
Right, and the 29 two-door was the easiest car to find at the time I was looking for one. They made more 29 two-doors than any other model in a Model A Ford. It was very popular in its day. And even though it's a common car, it was practical. At the time, I was married and had 3 kids, so I needed the room.
Well, that's a lot of room back there, right?
Right. You can put a whole family back there and go on a tour.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I'll tell you, William, we certainly want to thank you for the interview, and we'll have to get a business card from your son because one of these days I know I'm going to end up with one of these speedsters.
Well, we'll fix one up for you.
Absolutely. That sounds good. Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. You were great. Yes, as we near the conclusion of our show, we're going to be showing you some pictures of this beautiful 1910 Model T owned by Pat and Frank Wismer. The car is just absolutely gorgeous. We've run across it now at a couple of different shows, and it's just stunning, I'll tell you. These Model Ts have really caught my attention lately, and I hope to put a speedster together soon. And I hope everybody has enjoyed the show as much as we did producing it. I mean, it just has been one outstanding day here to come to the Klingberg Family Centers Auto Show. It was just a truly special event featuring those cars that were manufactured in Connecticut. I mean, I'll tell you, we just never ever see these cars, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. And these Model Ts too, that you're getting a good look at, this 1910, have really become something special with me, and I just can't wait to put a speedster together, because I just got that feeling that it's going to be in my future very soon. But I want to thank, most of all and last of all, everybody who's involved with the show, and we surely want to thank all the viewers for tuning in to Racing Action Today. As you could see, this show is really quite something special, and Mark Johnson really needs to be commended. He's really put together a great show. Hope everybody will come back, as we were looking to see you on the next episode of Racing Action Today. This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Special thanks to the Racing Action Today crew: Dwayne Cody, Billy Majak, David Seidlinger, Lisa Backus, and Luis Gonzalez. Also, we want to thank our home station, Nutmeg TV, for all their support. Special thanks to Amity Printing and Copy Center at 11 Pleasant Avenue in Berlin, Connecticut. We want to thank them for all their support and all the great things they do.